Hey, what's going on, healthy gamers? Jack here, and I have Mike with me again. Today we're going to be talking about circuit training, and if you missed our last podcast, you need to check it out. We talked about paleo eating. It was really well received, and Mike, he has been a fireman for 18 years. He is a fire captain now. He does CrossFit coaching on the side, and he is also an avid gamer. So how you doing, Mike?
I'm good. I think the most important thing you said was that I was an avid gamer.
Yes, you are. What are you playing now?
You know what? I am bouncing all over the place with stuff right now, especially with our gaming community. We're doing just a lot of moving into different games, and actually this week we're having an FPS-a-thon because we just launched our FPS division within the Mog Nation. So we're bouncing from game to game this week, just having some good times on Mumble and playing some games when I can squeeze in there to play.
I
But we're
I need
doing
to
all
hop on
kinds of
that
stuff.
server and check that out. That sounds fun.
Yeah, you do. It's a blast, man.
And for you guys, well, actually, why don't you just talk about Mog Nation for a second?
Oh, cool. Thank you. Mog Nation is a conglomerate that we've built. It's basically a community for adult gamers that are tired of being cussed out by young kids on voice servers and voice chat. So we created a community for adults, hardworking parents, professionals, people who don't have a ton of time to play, but will still be welcomed into a multi-gaming community where you don't have to feel bad about leaving your whatever guild and go search the internet again to find another guild and rinse and repeat and learn and get to know another community. Well, we kind of have all that within one community, and we game hop a lot. We have podcasts, articles, all kinds of different things. It's basically a one-stop shop for gaming. So you can find it at mognation.com, and that will link you over to our main site, and then you can also find the link to our community site that's on Engine as well.
I highly recommend you guys check it out. I'm over on the forums now, and I'm gonna get involved more if I ever find the time to do it. But
I feel you. I feel
yeah,
you.
but it really is a cool community, and I really like what you guys have done with it. It's very, very intelligent and mature. I like that.
Thank you. And I don't know if you can see, I'll have to stretch to get it up
Oh
here,
God,
but
what are you doing? Okay,
my Mog Nation shirt,
nice. I like that.
always at my heart. So there it is.
There you go. All right, well, let's just hop right into it. Let's talk about circuit training. Talk about your experience.
Okay.
Because your experience with CrossFit and P90X, I wanted to give an introduction to the viewers because I get a lot of questions about, different, especially at-home workouts. P90X comes up a lot. So if you just talk through just a little bit about the overarching theme of CrossFit and then what your experience was, because you said you've done P90X for about a year or more. Just talk through it.
I did. Basically my journey into fitness has been a long one. I did just a lot of training through the fire academy, trying to be prepared to get a position in the fire department and stay in shape. Has always been a constant battle for me. But even through high school, I did the traditional weightlifting for football and for wrestling and high school sports, and then that kind of transferred into the same thing as I was going through college and working my way through getting a job with the fire department. And I never really truly discovered what fitness meant until I think I talked about it a little bit on the last cast, was when I was diagnosed with high cholesterol. And it was the same year my daughter was born, and my cholesterol was up in the 240 range, and it really just scared the crap out of me about not being healthy and having to change something. I was too young to have just crud floating through my body. So I decided to try something a little bit different. Of course, I had seen all the infomercials about P90X and how it was extreme. So I hopped into the masses and bought the DVDs, and for about a year I did it religiously. It did work. Now, I'm one of those guys that truly believes that anything will work. Any program that's out there is going to work for you. The keys are your diet needs to be right, and you need to stick to it. And that's exactly what I did. I stuck to it. I changed the way that I ate. And, during that year, I shredded off a lot of fat, and my cholesterol dropped. So I was feeling great. Now, I didn't think it could get it possibly any better than that until one day I was at work and I was upstairs we have a upstairs gym at one of our firehouses, and I had my laptop set up and I had my P90X going, and I was doing my little P90X thing, and a buddy of mine came up, and happened to be a buddy of mine that is very well respected in our department for fitness, and at the time he was doing this thing called CrossFit, and nobody really knew much about it other than it was like the ultimate in extreme fitness, and guys are going to hurt themselves and back, forward and back. So anyway, he came up the stairs, saw me doing the P90X thing, probably chuckled a little bit at my dancing around, and he said, he just real simple said, "Hey man, have you ever tried CrossFit?" And of course me, I was hypoxic at the time, but no, I hadn't. I hadn't tried CrossFit at all, and so after that, I ended up looking it up. The next day, I decided to do a CrossFit workout just to try it out, and I did probably one of the most difficult CrossFit workouts out there. It's called Murph, which consists of running a mile, and then right after that, you're doing, hopefully I'm right on this, 100 pull-ups, 200 squats, 300. Yeah, do you remember what it was, Jack?
Yeah,
Exactly.
you're right. It's 300 squats, 200 push-ups, 100 pull-ups.
Yes, and then right after all that madness, you run another mile.
Yes.
So you can imagine, yeah, it is extreme, and especially for me at that particular point, that was an extreme workout. But something clicked in my head that went, okay, P90X, great circuit training, CrossFit, great circuit training, but I got so much better of a workout out of doing that Murph that one day. I was wrecked for like 3 or 4 days after that, and I went, you know what? I'm missing something in my fitness, and I think it was the intensity that I was missing. So after that, P90X, love ya, but it was gone. That was the last time I ever did a P90X workout, and I've been absolutely hooked and addicted to the type of training that CrossFit has provided for me. I became a CrossFit coach. I'm currently coach at a gym close to my house. I absolutely love coaching. One of the biggest things that has caught me about CrossFit is the community. But overall, I mean, my fitness has gone through the roof. I'm 37 years old. Not to put myself on a pedestal, but I feel that I am in much better shape than a majority of the people out there. I feel like I'm in much better shape than a lot of my coworkers, which we actually have a pretty healthy workforce at our fire department, but I still feel like I'm in the top part of that echelon, and I'm approaching age 40. So, that type of circuit training, do I think it's extreme? Yeah, I do, because, every workout, depending on how long it is, I'm floored. I'm on the ground just because of that intensity level that I get out of it, and the all-around range of movements, the fact that they're so functional to everything that I do in life has really just got its hooks in me, and now I will have a very difficult time ever doing anything else.
Sure. Let me comment on a few of the things you pointed out. I agree with you that anything you do, any sort of workout program will work as long as you're consistent and there's progression. Those are the two things you need to have, because I think what often happens is someone who doesn't know what they're doing will go into the gym and they'll kind of do the same thing every week, and they're missing that degree of progression. So if you're lifting the same weight every week, you're not going to progress. So your body will only build itself up to the point to be able to handle what you're doing, and if you're not pushing yourself past that, you're not progressing. So I think that's one of the fundamental key success factors of P90X, and especially CrossFit, because CrossFit just forces that intensity on you.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things about CrossFit is it's the basic mindset in CrossFit is a hopper type mentality. So if you were to take a hopper, put a bunch of different movements into that hopper, and then turn that hopper around just like a bingo cage, the things that pop out of that hopper would be different every time. So if you look at the actual regimen of what CrossFit is at the main website, crossfit.com, every workout each day is different, and you'll only see a workout repeated, maybe every couple of months. So like, today's particular workout was run a 5K. So you're going to run that 5K as hard and fast as you possibly can, but that is not all they do. It's not just the run. You know, in 2 months you may see a 10K pop up. Probably about 3-4 months ago there was a 10-mile run that popped up, and those are things that are it basically with CrossFit you are just skimming the surface of a whole bunch of different disciplines to prepare you for anything in life, because things are going to happen. You know, you may have to jump out of the way of a car. You may have to, you know, the apocalypse could happen tomorrow. You may be stuck in a survival situation at any time where you have to have an all-around skill of fitness, all-around flexibility, all-around aerobic conditioning to be able to survive. And that's probably one of the best things about what CrossFit does. So, and the other thing, like you were saying too, about doing the same thing in the gym all the time, well, one of the biggest things with circuit training and with the CrossFit mentality is that you're going to hit a body part. So, you know, say yesterday you did heavy squats, okay? The next day you may hit your legs again. So by training your body to be ready for that muscle confusion, yeah, you may be sore and you may be telling yourself there's no way I can do it. Well, you know what? Yeah, you can. Stretch it out, warm it up, and you can hit those muscles again. And as long as you're keeping your form, as long as you're doing the movements correctly, the chances of you getting hurt just from being sore and doing it again the next day is extremely low. So that's one thing that I liked about it most, is that it also builds that mental toughness. So when your legs or your arms or your shoulders are just shot, and the next day you look on there and you're like, oh man, we got to do wall balls today, or we're doing shoulder press today, you got to be kidding me. Well, you know what? Buck up, because it's time to do it. It's time to train your brain and get mentally tough as much as it is getting your body tough. So that's another one of the things that has really hooked me about the circuit training and the CrossFit mentality.
Sure, I agree with that. The best shape I've ever been in my life was when me and another friend, I'm in the Army National Guard, I'm in an infantry unit, so we are, you know, out of the Army, we're the ones who do the most physical activities, and you know, even in our own unit, we're an infantry unit, we still have a lot of guys who follow the normal Army regime of push-ups, sit-ups, and runs, and they think that's all they need to do is to stay in shape. But my friend and I, we were regularly doing CrossFit style workouts. We were doing the Murph. We actually did one with our body armor on, so that added about 25 pounds, and in the middle of July, and we almost literally died from that. But it was a fantastic workout, and it shows during our training the different things we're doing. You know, because a lot of the movements we do, we're moving with heavy weight. You know, you have anywhere from 55 to 100 pounds of kit on you with your weapons and everything combined, and you need to be able to do lots of short sprinting movements. You need to be able to take guys to the ground, you know, control weapons. I'm a 240 gunner, so that weapon alone weighs 27 pounds, and that thing is unwieldy, so you need that upper body strength to be able to control that weapon as long, or as well as, you know, the endurance to be able to walk. And so I found that the circuit style training, like CrossFit, has been the best way to prepare myself for just all the rigors that we've done. Where was I going with that? But it's right. So we had a combatives tournament last drill, and combatives is basically just jiu-jitsu. We don't do any strikes or anything like that, but I was able to take the heavyweight division mostly because of my conditioning. I've had a little bit of jiu-jitsu training, but because of that total body conditioning I put myself through the circuit training, that gave me a massive advantage over everyone else who got gassed after about a minute of wrestling around. And because if you've never done jiu-jitsu or wrestling before, it is another level from running. It is a whole nother level of cardio intensity from running. And so that, I felt like that really prepared me well. And that's something that you don't even think about until you actually come into that situation. And I was also able to get 102 reps of squats with 225 the other day. And again, I think mostly, you know, I was able to do that because my cardio conditioning was improved to the point where I could recover very quickly in between sets. So those are some of the benefits that I've seen personally through following an high intensity style of circuit training.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of those things too where CrossFit is and circuit training alone is one of those things where you can do it in conjunction with whatever sports you play. So just like you mentioned the jiu-jitsu, if somebody's heart is in jiu-jitsu and that's really what they train for, what better way to supplement your sport by doing a circuit type of training. We have a couple athletes at our gym that actually quite a few athletes that CrossFit is not their sport. That's just their conditioning program. They'll come in. We have a couple of jiu-jitsu fighters that come in and do it just for the conditioning portion of it. And it's just an outstanding supplement. Now we actually have a program, and this is a program that's becoming worldwide now. It's called CrossFit Football, and this is basically a conditioning program that is geared specifically to football players. And we're watching some athletes come into our gym that are just some big boys, some guys with some unbelievable talent, and you couple that talent with the agility and the speed that CrossFit movements are going to teach you, and just teaching your body to be efficient through those movements, efficient through a squat, efficient through Olympic weightlifting, and explosive through Olympic weightlifting lifts is going to transfer directly into what those guys are doing coming off the line hard and fast in the middle of a play. And then we're doing it at high intensity. So basically what we're doing is we're taking those high strength, high intensity movements that they're going to use on the football field or you're going to use in jiu-jitsu, and you're adding in the aerobic, anaerobic regimens to that. So you're going to make those guys stronger, faster, more agile, and have them recover faster when they're on the field or when they're on the mat. And all it's going to do is it's going to take their athletic ability and it's going to skyrocket it. So that to me is what is just one of the side benefits that you get from these the circuit training, CrossFit type of workouts, where you are absolutely blowing everything out that you have, and when you're done, you're totally exhausted, and you get up and you do it again. I love that.
Absolutely. Let's jump right into the benefits of CrossFit, of circuit style, high intensity interval training. One of the ones I just read an article, and it talked about. Oh, I wish I had it pulled up. I had to turn off my internet, but it talked about how 60 minutes of high intensity interval sprints per week. They had the participants get on a bike and they would bike at a high intensity for 8 seconds and then rest, or a low intensity bike for 12 seconds, and they did that for I believe 8 to 10 minutes, and then that added up to 60 minutes over the course of a week, and they saw more fat loss, especially in the abdominal area with those participants, as they did to participants who ran 6 to 7 hours a week of just steady state cardio.
Yep. I agree with that so much, and because a lot of what you said resonates into the training that I've been doing for the last few years. And if you basically, the way you look at it is, Google a picture of an Olympic sprinter, and then Google a picture of an Olympic cross country runner or long distance runner. Look at the difference in the body types, and then the difference is that you have the distance runners are much more skinny. They have much less. They're much more. Let me say lean. That's probably a little more politically correct. They're much more lean. They have a lot less body fat, but they also have a lot less muscle. Then you take the Olympic sprinter, somebody who's going to run the 100 or the 100 or the 400 or the 800, and you look at the body composition between those two folks, and it is vastly different. Where that sprinter that is running that super high intensity for short periods of time over and over again develops that muscle so fast, where the person that runs at low intensity for, a day is going to, they're just going to shred the fat, but they're not going to retain that muscle. And the same thing translates into what I see. And you know what you were saying with that last workout, the fact that they were biking for a certain amount of time and then going into a rest and then going into hardcore biking again. That it's almost exactly what a Tabata is. And that's, if you haven't heard of a Tabata, basically a Tabata in the fitness world is 20 seconds of work followed by 10 seconds of rest, and you do that for 8 rounds. And that's exactly what we were doing yesterday. We did a Tabata burpee workout, and it was part of our warm-up before the actual workout we did. But, and if you've never heard of a burpee is basically from a standing position, you drop down into a push-up position with your chest and hips on the floor, and then you would jump your hands into your feet, and then you stand up in a totally stand-up position with your hips open and your legs fully extended, and then you are clapping your hands over your head. That's one burpee. So the goal of this Tabata workout was you do 20 seconds of work. So you do as many burpees as you can for 20 seconds, and then you stop and you rest for 10 seconds. And as soon as that 10 seconds is over, right back into the next round. Well, the goal is to score your lowest round. So that way you're not sandbagging it, you're not loafing it. You know, you want to try and get the most amount that you can so that your least amount doesn't look so bad. But what you're looking at, and during, you know, all those revolutions is going to take you 4 minutes. That 4 minutes of work absolutely just smokes your fitness. And you get that deep lung burn and the feeling in your legs, like your legs are going to explode from going up and down. But you feel like you're tearing new lung tissue while you're doing it. But what you're getting is that high intensity. I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to let my lowest rep be lower than the last round. And the benefit that you get out of that is muscle growth, flexibility, agility, speed, all that stuff just combines into that short little 4-minute workout. So it's amazing, man. The results can be astounding with high intensity workouts.
Absolutely, and I think I enjoy a little bit of the science behind the Tabata protocol. Because the idea there is that with those 20 seconds of work and the 10 seconds of rest, you're allowing your body to clear most of that lactic acid. So it's not going to be an intense burning pain where you cannot continue. That short period of rest is allowing you to clear the lactic acid, and then just the high intensity, the interval aspect of it really mobilizes your fat stores much more than steady state cardio, where your heart rate is staying at around a 155 for 20 minutes or more. And I've seen some charts where they show whenever you're doing steady state cardio, your fat loss goes like this, like your fat's burn and then it's going up here, and then as you're running, your fat burn looks like this. But as soon as you stop, that fat burns goes right back down. But the difference with an high intensity interval workout is as you start working out, your amount of fat burn goes up, and then it stays up for hours after your workout, whereas because it really is putting your body through much more stress than just going for a jog. I mean, anyone try it. You go sprint 8 rounds, maximal effort, or you go for a light jog for 20 minutes, and which one is going to put you in more stress? And it's always the latter.
Right, and you absolutely end up increasing or decreasing your recovery times too when you're doing interval training like that. So, and that just goes to translate into anything that you do. You walk up a flight of stairs with a load, you're going to recover faster when you train, at 8 rounds of high intensity sprinting, for 100 yards or 50 yards or whatever. Every time you're doing it, basically you're bringing your heart rate up and you're training your heart to recover fast, and you're bringing it back up and you're training your heart to recover fast. So, any of these training workouts that you do, especially the ones that are high intensity, you're training and preparing your body for anything the world is going to throw at you, and that's what I like so much about those.
Absolutely. And one last point on the benefits I want to talk about is your improved hormone signaling and your just improved hormone output. You're especially when you're doing high intensity leg workouts, sprints, and things workouts of that nature, you're releasing more growth hormone into your body. I believe I read some studies where they talk about squats and deadlifts and sprints are releasing more growth hormone and more free testosterone into your body. So that is those hormones there are then signaling to your body to grow more faster, and it's so when you do that, you're not only improving the growth of those specific muscles that you work, you're improving your overall body's hormone signaling and growth. And it's also interval cardio training is one of the best ways to improve your insulin signaling within your body, so that all of your muscle tissue is more responsive to insulin. And one of the problems with most Americans is that they've become insulin resistant through eating a diet that consistently spikes their blood glucose, which causes spikes of insulin, which causes insulin receptors to downregulate, and now they are insulin resistant. So this is one of the best ways to combat insulin resistance. And what happens if you become too insulin resistant is you become type 2 diabetic. So there are so many benefits to just doing interval circuit training, and you really are. It is the most efficient sort of training you can do. You're working your cardio, you're burning fat, you're increasing your muscular endurance, and you're increasing your muscular hypertrophy. So it's if you only have 20 minutes a day, this is the kind of workout you want to do.
Absolutely, and you hit on a good point there, talking about squats and working your legs. The squat, the fact that it's one of the most efficient movements that you can possibly do, anything from a squat all the way to a standing position holding something overhead, is one of the most efficient movements that you can do, because you are engaging everything. You're engaging your legs, you're engaging your core, you're engaging pretty much everything that would increase the amount of blood being moved through your body. Think of your quads and your legs as the largest muscles in your body. Therefore, they're going to require more blood to be circulated through them. And what that's doing, remember, every drop of blood that gets circulated through your body has to go through your heart. The more blood you have circulating through your heart means the cleaner those pathways are, the cleaner that cardiovascular system is, the system that's comprised of your heart and your the fluid, which is your blood, the pump being your heart, and the vessels are going to be more clear. There's going to be a lot less resistance to them because you're moving so much blood through them more regularly. Therefore, your heart will be healthier. It will be stronger. So the more good blood you can move through those things, the more times a day, the more times a week, you're going to be overall cardiovascularly, your heart's going to be healthier, your heart's going to be stronger. So, think of it in terms of you're just working your heart muscle at the same time. And those leg exercises are the best for that.
I totally agree. Let's talk about examples of circuits, and let's talk about some beginner circuits first of all. So what are your favorite few circuits that you would recommend to someone who's just starting out into CrossFit, who's maybe new to fitness?
If you're new, there's a whole bunch of different types of workouts that CrossFit will throw at you. And if you're new to it, then I would definitely say you need to start slow. You need to learn the proper way the movements work. And if you're just doing it at home, if you're starting from home, as opposed to going into a gym where you have a CrossFit coach teaching you the stuff, best way to learn from home is to go to the website, CrossFit.com. They have videos on that they demonstrate all the fine points of all these different movements. So pretty much any workout that you find off of CrossFit.com will have some type of a demo, or you could just whatever it's called, burpee, just YouTube a burpee. There's all kinds of instructional stuff on there about what a burpee is. So before I even go into it, just make sure that you are doing the movements correctly. The way CrossFit trains is they will throw several different types of workouts at you. The first one is called an AMRAP, and that stands for as many rounds as possible. And they'll give you some sort of a time frame. So they'll say, okay, you do as many rounds as possible in 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes of these movements. So yesterday, the workout that we did was as many rounds as possible in 15 minutes of 10 kettlebell swings, and they give you a weight. You can scale the weight as you need to. 10 ring dips, and 10 box jumps. So it doesn't sound like much. It sounds like, well, yeah, well, one round is only 30 reps. Well, yeah, multiply that by as many times as you can do it. So an AMRAP workout is really all on your fitness. It's all on you. It's all on whatever intensity you want to give it. You could sandbag it all day long, but you're not going to get the results that you want out of it. So that's one type of workout. Another type that they'll give you is just completing a certain amount of rounds. And whatever time you get, that's the time you get. That's your time standard. So something like that would be you're going to do 5 rounds of 5 pull-ups, 10 wall balls, and 15 squats. Okay, so it doesn't seem like that much. It's, it's just a few reps per round. But how many, how fast can you complete that 5 rounds? So they're challenging you to see what your time is on those 5 rounds. So you may have a beginner where a 5-round workout like that would take him, 14, 15 minutes, or you'll have some of the pretty heavy hitters in CrossFit, the really fit guys can do that workout in probably 4 minutes. So there's the difference. So the guy that's at 15 minutes, okay, now I have something to work to. My next time I do this workout, I want to bring my own time down 2 minutes or bring it down 3 minutes. And that's where you really are able to gauge, that's where the measurable effects of CrossFit come in. Another type of workout they'll give you is like a heavy lift day. So you may have 7 rounds of 3 deadlifts, and they don't give you a weight. It's whatever weight you want to put on there, but you want to challenge yourself for those 21 reps to get as many and as heavy as you possibly can, obviously without pulling something or losing your form. So, those workouts turn into extremely taxing workouts for you because you start with maybe a lower weight, but by the time you get to the middle of those sets, you're at a very heavy weight. And, a very heavy weight is very hard to lift. That's why people don't do it. So, it's really throwing in strength, cardio, different types of conditioning, flexibility, and it really is skimming the surface in a lot of that stuff. So, they could give you a workout where you have to come in and you're doing 10 squat cleans at a heavy weight. And then right after that, you go for, you're going for a run and you come back, you run 400 meters, you come back and you're doing 10 more squat cleans. And you're just destroying your legs. But you know what? You are building muscle, you're building endurance, you're building flexibility, and you're building your overall fitness. And the difference in all those different types of workouts, the fact that they're different every single day, and it is that hopper type mentality, you don't know what they're going to throw at you, that is what is the draw for a lot of people. Sometimes it's difficult for people to flip the switch. Sometimes somebody decides, man, this just isn't for me, and that's okay. As long as you're doing something, man, get out there and do something. That's always one of the biggest things that I preach is CrossFit might not be for you, circuit training might not be for you, but if it's not, it's okay. Just do something. And you're going to be better off in the long run.
Sure. I wrote an article like 1 or 2 weeks ago talking about just skimming some examples of different circuit workouts, and I've got some good feedback on it. And people have said it is a lot more interesting to do a circuit workout for their cardio as opposed to getting on a treadmill or an elliptical and just, you're doing the same thing for just 15 minutes, and that gets so boring. You're staring at some fat, sweaty guys, in sweatpants, and they're sweating in front of you, but it's just so much more interesting. Like one of the ones I really enjoy doing at home, it requires no equipment outside of just a pull-up bar you hang on your door frame. What I like to do is just 15 push-ups, 5 pull-ups, 20 squats, and then V crunches. And I'll just do circuits of those until I feel pretty tired. And snowed in, that's a fantastic workout, and it's hitting everything. It's got the cardio component, working the legs pretty well, really good for the chest and triceps and back and biceps, and it's simple to do.
Yep, and that sounds very CrossFit-esque to me, buddy. So
Right, I took it pretty much just a Murph without the run and a little bit more ab work.
Right, and if you like all that kind of stuff, then it's not going to stop me from planting the seed in your head and make you a convert. I think you'd love CrossFit.
Yeah, you know what? I think the best part about CrossFit is the community aspect and the challenge aspect, because I know I always work out harder when there is someone else there with me that can hold me accountable. If I'm by myself, I'll start getting tired, like, I feel tired, I'm done. But if there's someone else with me, I don't want them to beat me. I'm very, that competitive aspect is what I'm trying to say. And I also read a really interesting article. It talked about how they believed we tried a lot harder in games, in video games and in, like basketball and baseball, because we keep score. And I like that aspect of CrossFit where you're keeping your score and you're constantly trying to beat a time, because it really is the idea of, this is something that Earl Nightingale says, which, by the way, you guys should go Google Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret. Go listen to that. It's a fantastic talk, really motivational. But he says, you can think of a ship, and you are a ship, and you are the captain of your ship. And so if you're going to take your ship out to sea, what are you going to do? Are you going to have a course plotted that you're trying to go to, or are you just going to leave the wheel, let the ship go wherever it wants? Both ships, they're both moving, but the one with the destination in mind is going to reach its destination 99 times out of 100, but the one where you just leave the rudder and just let the ship go where it will, you're going to end up wrecked somewhere. You're going to end up on a deserted island. You're not going to be anywhere that you want to be, and that applies so much in life along with the goals that you set, but it also applies in the gym. If you go to the gym, you don't have any goals you're wanting to accomplish, you don't have any times you're trying to beat, you don't have any weights you're trying to go up in, then you're just going to kind of be aimlessly going from, oh, this looks cool, I'll go do this, I'll go do that, okay, I feel kind of tired, I'm going to go home. Whereas the guy with the goals, especially if you have a coach there and you have 4 or 5 other guys you're competing with, that's really giving you the motivation, that mental aspect to push yourself beyond what you were doing last time. You know exactly where you're going for, and that just that little change in mentality will make all the difference between having a world-class physique and fitness and just being some guy who kind of looks like he lifts.
Right, and you know what, I think that, even for somebody that is totally disciplined and totally dedicated to their fitness, that applies. I also think it applies all the way down to somebody who's just starting fitness. If you're just getting into this, you can still get that same hook. You can have that same drive. You're fighting for something. You're fighting for your health right off the bat, and you're fighting to make a transition in your body to where your body is an effective machine. And so basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get people motivated. If you're on the cusp, you don't have to set goals, super high that may not be attainable. Maybe they're not attainable because you have mental block, or maybe they're not attainable because you don't have the time to put in. But if you're doing something, you can set smaller goals for yourself, and smaller goals will equal smaller results, but they're still results. And eventually, having that progression continue, you will decide to shuffle things around in your life and make it a true priority for you, but at least get started, get something started for yourself. And, Jack, you mentioned something about the CrossFit community, and I cannot agree 100%. I mean, I cannot agree any more than I possibly can about the community. There is a little competition within the community, and you'll start to find those folks that you compete at the same level with, no matter what your level of fitness is. And the one nice thing about CrossFit that will turn a lot of people off right off the bat, but your time or your results for that particular workout each day are recorded. They're recorded on a board. We'll ask you, what'd you get? Hey, how many rounds did you get? And your name's written down there, and your name goes up. And a lot of people are like, oh man, I don't want anybody to know what I got. But what that does is that lights a fire under your bum. It gets you going. It's like, hey man, I thought I was in better shape than that guy, and he got another full round more than I did. Well, next time I'm going to push myself that much harder. Or when the athletes from the middle of the day are coming in, they're looking at all the scores of the times that the people from the morning classes got. And that's what we do. If I'm doing a workout by myself, I'll check the website and see, man, what are the top times? I try and set myself a goal that's somewhere, as close to those top times that I can get that's within my range of ability. So there is that little bit of competition that is thrown in there, particularly for CrossFit, and I think that's one of the draws. But you were also saying that you have somebody next to you that is fighting just as hard as you are to get the best score they can. And, take a time to work out. One of the biggest things about our community that I like at our gym, and this resonates in a lot of different CrossFit communities, is that you will have somebody who finishes a workout. Well, when they're done with that workout, instead of just crawling on the ground or starting to do their after workout stretch or whatever, they're going to walk over to the person who's still working, and they're going to encourage that person. Hey man, come on. Don't, no more resting. 3, 2, 1, go. Back on the bar. And they're going to get that person motivated to continue and finish that workout as hard and as strong as they possibly can. And that resonates throughout the gym. I mean, you can hear the folks that are finished. You can hear everybody cheering for each other. Doesn't matter if you're tired in the middle of your workout or not. You look over to the person next to you and say, come on, man, let's go. Come on, get up there. And, you're getting people moving. And that really does help your mind, because you could absolutely implode on one of these workouts. They're hard. They're physically demanding. You're at the peak of your inspiration and expiration, your anaerobic movements. The weights can be heavy. It gets taxing. So having that person next to you telling you, hey man, let's go, let's push, is a big part of what that CrossFit training is all about. And that is what was one of the biggest draws for me. So, look for it, man. It's addicting. It is. Some people say it's like a cult, and I agree with that 100%. It's a family. It's a lifestyle. You get addicted to it. And you know what, man? Getting addicted to fitness, I can't think of another thing in the world to get addicted to that would be better.
Sure. And, I see that as the model of the future, because the things that are required to keep a person going and active in their fitness, you either have to have massive amounts of mental discipline and self-discipline and build really good habits, and that's difficult for a lot of people to do, or you can have the social pressures. Peer pressure is one of the highest pressures that drive us. That is why people are more afraid of speaking in public than they are afraid of dying, because they are, that's how much power peer pressure and social pressure exerts. So if you are in a community, like a CrossFit community, where you built friends and they're expecting you to be there and they're expecting you to work out hard, it is much, much harder for you to blow off a workout than it is if you just go to a gym by yourself and you don't have anyone there to hold you accountable. And that's, those are things to consider when you're thinking about going to a workout. Is, do you want to rely just on your own mental willpower and discipline? I mean, it's doable. That's what I've been doing for most of my life. But now that I've seen this new model, group fitness model, I really believe it is a far superior model in terms of having intensity with every workout, in terms of holding yourself accountable, in terms of holding yourself motivated.
Right. Having that person next to you to get you moving really does help. And even like a lot of times I'll do workouts on my own, and I will find myself during the middle of the workout going, yeah, I could probably sandbag this best I can, but I still have that in the back of my mind, knowing, you know what, my buddies are going to know what my time was, because they're going to ask. I have cousins in the Midwest that are going to ask, what was your time? What'd you get? And heck no, I don't want them to beat me. So you know what? It's self-motivation for me, even when I'm by myself in the gym, or I'm an early morning workout guy. So sometimes when I'm at work, I'll get up early and head into the gym at the firehouse and just, hit one of these CrossFit workouts to get it over with. And that's the hardest time. Wake up first thing in the morning. It's like, man, a cup of coffee, and all of a sudden you're wide awake right in the middle of your CrossFit workout. But, getting the motivation, the internal motivation to move and complete one of those workouts in the fastest time you can when you're all by yourself, it can be really, really tough. But just having that in the back of my head, that somebody else is going to know what my time was, really fuels me. But I will say, 5-6 years ago, there's no way that I could have worked out at the intensity that I do now. You really have to experience it, and you have to flip that switch in your own mind and go, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go as hard as I possibly can within my own limits. I'm going to do it safely, but I'm going to hit it hard. And it's made a giant difference in my fitness and my quality of life altogether.
Fantastic. Well, I think this covers the topic pretty well. We've been talking for 44 minutes, but I think this is going to be a really, really good podcast. I think hopefully it's motivational to you guys out there to go out there and go lift. And I'll link to, I have a write-up on just several different little circuits that I enjoy and that I built more towards beginners, more towards things you can do at your home. I'll link to that in the description. And then, well, Mike, do you have anything else for us?
No, other than, you know what, I offer myself up out there for anybody who's interested in hearing or learning about CrossFit from a coach. I'd be more than happy to talk to you about the movements or, you know, really what it's all about. If you have questions, same thing with your diet. I mean, I'm sure Jack's cool with doing that too. But if you want to catch me, you can email me at mogcash, MOGKASH at gmail.com, or you can hit me up on Twitter at mogcash.
Perfect. Well, I want to thank you once again for spending your time with us and coming on, and I've really enjoyed this conversation, and we'll definitely do this again.
Thanks, Jack. I appreciate it too, man.
All right, take care.
See ya.
Thank you so much for watching. Please hit subscribe if you haven't already. Take a second to hit like and share via your social media, and then check out some of these other videos here. There's a transformation, a steak dinner, and doing 102 reps of squats with 225 pounds.